We are fascinated by horrifying crime stories. We are intrigued by the psychology of criminals, the process of criminal investigation, and the motives behind criminals' actions. We find it compelling to unravel the web of events in a person's life and connect them to the crimes they commit. We are fascinated by the work of investigators and the small details they cling to during their work. We can generally understand crimes committed for profit, revenge, or even perverse motives. That's fairly explainable. But then there are crimes that go beyond all boundaries. Cannibalism, for example, is something that is incomprehensible to anyone with a healthy mind. One of the most notorious cases in the former USSR is that of the monster Spesivtsev, who is credited with 20 proven murders, though he claims the actual number is over 80 horrific crimes. But this isn't the only high-profile case in modern history. This is Ilshat Kuzikov, or as he prefers to introduce himself, Igor, a serial killer and cannibal. This is Nemesis, and the story starts now. (1992), St. Petersburg, Russia. Residents of House 22 on Ordzhonikidze Street discover a human torso in one of the building's basements. During the investigation, the police do not find any suspects for the crime. Since the building's basements were not locked, anyone could have had access to them. Much later, Kuzikov would tell that the first victim was Alexander Petyonkin, whom he met at a psychiatric hospital. On the day of the murder, Kuzikov invited him over for drinks. During the gathering, Ilshat Kuzikov began to pressure his new friend into having sex, but Petyonkin categorically refused. Ilshat did not like this, and he attacked his friend. He struck him on the back of the head with the handle of a knife, then slit Petyonkin's throat. Afterward, he completely dismembered his victim, undressed himself, dragged the body into the bath, and dismembered it. Then Kuzikov committed an act of cannibalism and disposed of the remains in the basement. I chopped it up in the bath. I chopped the head, the arms, the legs like this. Dissected. Pulled the heart, intestines. Pulled it all out. Well, it was scary. Very unpleasant. Unsettling, too. After all, I'm still a human. Not some kind of monster. July 1995. In the yard of the same building, a woman finds a human head and arms in a garbage bin. The victim turned out to be 37-year-old Mikhail Boshkov, a homeless man and former patient of the psychiatric hospital. 2 months later, during her morning walk with dogs, a resident of the same eerie building sees a severed human head and a glass jar with male genitalia in the trash. It was later revealed that the remains belonged to 43-year-old Eduard Vasilevsky, another homeless man who had mental health issues. Vasilevsky became the third person whose remains were thrown into the cursed trash bin near House 22. What was his name? Oh, the one who became soup? Edik, I think. Edik. Yeah, Vasilevsky Edik. And did you eat Edik? No, I cooked him and wanted to try his lungs. His lungs? Yeah, lungs. Before Edik became soup, were you familiar with him? Yes, we were. The cases were connected into a series, and this time, Kuzikov became a suspect. The police discovered that Boshkov and Vasilevsky had known Kuzikov and had been treated with him at the same institution. August 25, 1995. The police decide to search his apartment. Officers, posing as plumbers, enter the apartment. During the search, they find human hands wrapped in a coat. Kuzikov is arrested. During the search, even experienced police officers are shocked. In addition to the severed limbs, the officers find glass jars containing meat, dried pieces of skin, bottles filled with blood, a jar containing ears, and a pot filled with what appeared to be human remains. Ilshat Kuzikov was born in Khujand, Tajikistan, on February 27, 1960. He grew up in a dysfunctional family with an alcoholic father. As a child, he and his brother had to witness the violence of their father toward their mother and were subjected to abuse themselves. In 1971, a key tragedy occurred that would affect the entire course of Kuzikov's life. In front of 11-year-old Ilshat, his father killed his mother. Why did you only kill men and never women? Women are... I love women. I can't raise my hand against a woman. How many women I've had. And I even had homeless women living with me. And good women came. Never had any problems. Even though they did all sorts of nasty things to me sometimes. But to kill or hit, I couldn't do that. From that point on, Ilshat began developing and progressing with mental health disorders. He was placed on a psychiatric register. Kuzikov later claimed that, from that moment on, he began to notice an attraction to men and sexual arousal from seeing blood. According to unconfirmed reports, at the same time, he had certain contacts with his brother. Kuzikov was drawn to surgery and observing operations. He dreamed of entering a medical university, but due to poor academic performance, he enrolled in a technical school to become a welder. Much later, he would attempt to work at a morgue, but he was not hired because of his psychiatric diagnosis. In 1981, during his military service, he attacked a fellow soldier, injuring him with a wrench. Ilshat was sent for a psychiatric evaluation, where he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, hospitalized in a psychiatric facility, and classified as disabled. Kuzikov began drinking, which led to serious addiction. While under observation at a local psychiatric dispensary, Ilshat underwent treatment annually, with each course lasting about 1.5 to 2 months. In the mid-1980s, during one of his treatment courses, he met a female patient with whom he began a romantic relationship. They soon married, but their marriage lasted only 2 years. Due to alcohol problems, Kuzikov's mental health deteriorated further. During one of their arguments, he attacked his wife. She filed for divorce and left him. Kuzikov later stated that he and his wife never had children due to medical advice regarding his health condition. After the divorce, he began leading a marginal lifestyle, spending all his time with homeless people who also suffered from alcohol dependence. Due to rising prices and a lack of means to survive, Kuzikov began to starve. When the humanitarian aid program stopped supplying food to the needy, and Ilshat had been living on those supplies for a long time, he began to feel hunger again and suffered from malnutrition. To survive, he took a job as a janitor. During this time, his mental state worsened significantly. Ilshat claimed that he had repeatedly asked for psychiatric help and requested hospitalization, but was always refused. All of this led to his first bloody crime in 1991. In 1997, the court released Kuzikov from criminal responsibility and directed him to undergo compulsory treatment. Well, I don't know. It feels strange. I don't know. Such a crime. I don't know. You mean the crime? Murder or cannibalism? Cannibalism. I ate the liver and the heart. Murder? Well, that's fine. Maybe they would have punished me more lightly. But now I'll never get out of the madhouse. Probably I'll go to the Arsenalka and stay there for life unless they shoot me. Are you afraid they'll shoot you? No. They say it would be a light punishment for me if they shoot me. As of 2024, Kuzikov is alive and undergoing treatment in a specialized psychiatric hospital with intensive monitoring. It is very likely that this and many other terrifying stories might never have happened if the healthcare system had always worked properly, if patients had access to the necessary treatment, and if children had only grown up in happy families.